Well, welcome back to my lovely new studio. Next week is the week in which I will make a clip about putting it all away. Still not put away, but we're getting there. So today I'm cutting for lovely Lale, who is one of our event managers locally. Very nice lady. And I'm cutting her 3 buckets for an event this weekend. And since I have another commission, always, to do number 1 Bruton, and since I've been up at Mum's most of the week, I thought I'd make a clip inspired by the work I'm cutting for Lale. So what Lale likes is a sort of wild and hairy look. So I'm going to cut lovely wild and hairy looking flowers, and then I'm going to demonstrate, make an arrangement showing how actually wild and hairy on its own is hard, and what you might give to it to give it a strong base so that it works. People often ring me and say, I just want wildflowers. And not only do I reply, expensive, no, but I also need to explain how things work better from a design point of view if you give everything a little bit of weight. So I'm going to cut lots of wild, but I'm also going to cut wild looking, and I'm also going to cut some weight. So come along with me and we'll make something really stunning with what I cut, which will have a wild look, but be based in strength. On we go. And if you're new to the channel, you're very welcome. Please subscribe, press the bell icon, and we'll tell you when we've got more clips coming up. And if any of the tips and tricks we give you along the way are useful, you can always buy me a coffee, or better still, join my club. And the links to club membership and coffee buying are in the blurb to all my clips. Right, let's get on. And before we go any further, you know I'm always banging on about washing your arms when you've been cutting material, particularly in the sunshine, and how I'm always washing my arms. Well, sometimes I miss a bit, and that is attractive, isn't it? That was a huge blister, and I drove up to Cumbria with this blister growing and growing and growing, and then it burst, charming, and is slowly healing. But I can just see the ducks walking off. So top tip, if you're cutting flowers in the sunshine, wash your arms. And look, in the distance, can you see the naughty ducks? They've just escaped from there. I put them in with the dahlias to eat the slugs, and they've just got bored, obviously, and jumped the fence. Very funny. They're just marauding now around the garden, but they're fine. They're very good, actually. They're very cheerful, and they go home to bed at night. So we're looking for hairy, grassy, wildish, strong base. Plus, I've been away since the weekend, and so I really don't know what's in flower. Apart from, I spy some hydrangeas looking pretty good. So let's have a quick look around the garden and sort of choose, because it's normally I know what I've got, but because I've been away for a few days, I don't. So let's go and have a look, make some choices, and then we'll cut. So not technically wild, but look quite wild. The echinacea and this Veronica, definitely adding to the list. And as I go round the corner here, the Verbena hastata is such a good base. Each of these stems gives me all of this. One stem gives me all of that interest. Really worth it. And I've got a bit. Wild colours show up really well against this dark Physocarpus, so we'll definitely have some of that. And here's the zingy green Physocarpus too, so we might have some of that as well. Look, it's just contrast. You see things in the contrast? Just say yes to this lovely Veronicastrum. We'll share it with the invertebrates who love it too. And we have some roses, not masses, but we're going to avoid these weddingy colours. We're going to go, a wild look doesn't, in my mind, doesn't really work with too much wedding. I haven't got very much of them either. They're really at the end of their June, July flush. But you see the apricot colours behind? I'm going to have those. Oh, hello ducks. They look as though I've caught them. They stop still. They're very happy there. It's been an exceptional year for wild carrots, so we'll definitely have some of this. A very small amount of the outside sweet pea crop has survived the ravages of the slug, so we'll have them. And the first of the dahlias. Whew. So we'll have them so long as they're not too weddingy. Not all flowering yet, but coming along. So that's a bit pink in my mind. We're not going to go pale pink like that, but anything with a bit of blush or orange to it. Oh yes, American Dawn. There's my girl. It's been an appalling year for dahlias. Yes, I know, because of the slugs, but some have survived. And those that have survived, we will cut and cut and cut some more. And to go with them, we have glads, and this one is particularly good for this. If I'm going with this sort of orangey blue, a sort of apricot-y colour with some blue, these are fantastic, and they're scented. And please don't ask me the name. I've had them for years. I got them from Peter Nyson years ago, and they're great scented glads. Oh look, in my absence, the indoor sweet pea crop has been ripped out. Get that onto the compost heap. No, that is not the compost heap. That is just dumped sweet pea crop. Wow, top marks to Sue, who managed to pull the sweet peas out without completely trashing these Nicandra physiloides, which flower and then make very pretty seed pods which dry really nicely for Christmas. So I'll just leave these in here to do what they will until I harvest what I get from them at the end of the summer. Oh, nice colour. They've been very munched. I think I'm very bad at labelling, but I think these are Floret. I'm sure I didn't order this colour. So these must be Floret zinnias. Dinky, but coming along nicely. And here, the beginnings of the amaranthus. This one's gorgeous, isn't it? Very dramatic. Oh yes, I love you. So what I'll do is I'll cut the tops out and then I'll get more side shoots. And haha, here comes, hello, Cosmos Purity, the first. Still a way to go before I have any worth cutting. More glads here, so we'll have them for height and interest. And the bronze fennel is absolutely fantastic for a wild look, so we'll definitely have some of that. And in the distance, the purple Verbena bonariensis and the white and pink phlox. We'll cut the best. This is what I mean by weight. This is the kind of, look, more glads in the middle there. So we'll have a bit of phlox for weight, because then it gives it a background. Otherwise, if you're just wildy, all you see, you don't really see, you just see a sort of blur. But if you see the wildy against, you can see it here. See how the purple is really good behind the heavy white. Without the white, you have to look twice to see what it is. It's a foil, that's what I mean. And then as I go round, I will be opportunistic. Let's relax and just cut what we feel like. It's only 4 buckets and it's raining. So come on, who knows what we'll find? Oh, coming along quite nicely. Loving the blue and orange, opposite on the colour wheel, of course, and a colour way I like, as you can tell from my new studio. So look, there are 4 mixed buckets, and the weight is in the roses and the hydrangeas, but the wild is in all the spiky bits, like the Nigella, which isn't strictly wild, the Veronica, which isn't strictly wild, the bronze fennel, which is definitely not wild, but cousin to a wild, well-known wild look. A few sweet peas in there, the first of the dahlias. So when I do my piece with all this mixture to show you what you can do, I'm going to actually go pink and orange and leave the blue, I expect. Well, maybe not. I think most of the blue is going to get left for the client, but I can demonstrate what I want to with the pink and orange. The thing is, things like the dark red Physocarpus and the blue stop it being too weddingy. Sorry about the attractive hose pipe, but the ducks, hello ducks. So the ducks have been moved back in here because the slugs are still... We're chasing the ducks around the garden because of the slugs. And I want to keep the slug... The slugs have been eating my zinnias. Anyway, so obviously the ducks need clean water, so that's why. There is a hose pipe coming in here. Right. I am going to go and talk to my family, who I haven't seen all week. And I'll do some floristry tomorrow. Night-night, ducks. Harry McClary from Donaldson's Dairy. Right, next day, and I'm just walking up the field. This is my commute now. I'm going to let the ducks out on the way. I have coffee and an idea from something I might do for my floristry. Anyway, on we go. There's the new studio, a glimmer of orange in the trees. I hope it'll look really fantastic in the winter. A really great colour. I love that colour. I think it's fantastic against the green, and we'll see what it's like in the winter. Right, I have to put everything down to let the ducks out. They're quite shy. They don't rush out. They wait for me to go away. They have to get in the right order because there's a leader. So they have to go round in circles to let the leader out first. Morning, ducks. Look, they just stand there going, I'm not here. Nobody here. No, we're not here. You're imagining us. And then out they come and they have a good flap. Oh, morning. Morning, everybody. Morning. So here are my ingredients. I can smell the roses just standing here. And I'm going to make a wildish looking piece, but use formality to give it a base. And my container, I'm glad to say this fits. So here's an old copper pot, but I'm afraid it might leak. Also, it's a bit sort of loose. If I try and put floristry in here without a frog or any kind of holder, I don't want to use any mechanics. I just want to do something quick and simple. So there's that pot, but if I try and make something quite large in it, it'll fall out because it needs containing. So I've got a relatively narrow-necked bowl here. This is from Jarappa, who are neighbours of mine. They make recycled glass, all kinds of things, lamps, vases, jugs, glasses, tableware. Anyway, this fits handy in there. So I'm going to put this in here, arrange, actually this is going to be my vessel, but if you like I'm going to dress the vessel with a copper pot. Don't you love this out here? My sitooterie. The light, I'm so pleased with it. You know when you have an idea and you think, oh, that'll be really good, and then you spend quite a lot of money and 18 months building it, and it turns out it is quite good. I mean, look at the light and this gorgeous, rich, sort of rust-coloured wall. You know how I love a bit of rust. Anyway, I'm going to fill this up and then we'll make the piece. Right, I'll make the piece. I'll put some music generally people seem to like the music, so I'll put some music while I make it. Please remember, obviously, I have lots and lots of floristry workshops, demos here at the farm, online, that you can catch up with any time. You can order them as downloads, you can join in live. So do look at the website and pick yourself something to learn. What I love to do is encourage people to get into their own gardens and cut their flowers. So if you'd like to learn more about the detail of how I do these things, do look at my website and book yourself a workshop or a demo. Or even, I've got 3-day floristry retreat here in September, and it's booking up nicely, but there's room for a few more if you want to join in. Treat yourself. Right, on we get. I have coffee, I have snips, I have sunshine, I have flowers. What more could I want?
We have visitors. The ducks have come up to say good morning. Hello, duckies. I heard them walking up here. They go, oh, are we allowed? Yes, you're allowed. You can go anywhere you like, ducks. There, I can go on and on and on, but I think that's plenty. And you can see really how this is going to feel a little bit wild for the client by looking at the shadow on the wall. What you don't see when you look at it is the mush of hydrangea. The hydrangeas are the base against which everything else stands. Without the hydrangeas, it would be very wispy. With the hydrangeas, the wild looks meant. So it's a bit like mowing paths through your meadow. Without mowing the path, the meadow might look as though you've just left it and it's being overwhelmed with whatever you've got. The minute you frame something in meant tidy, then you understand the wild, if you see what I mean. Anyway, let's have a look at it. Am I making sense at all? So the hydrangeas are heavy, but growing out of them is this wild look. And of course, the veronicastrum there isn't wild, but it gives it a wild look. And the thing that really gives it a wild look is the fennel. But without, beg your pardon, without the hydrangeas, they are quite fancy. But without the hydrangeas, you wouldn't necessarily really see that none of this. Penstemons are not wild. The veronicastrum are not wild. But against the weight of the hydrangeas, they have a wildish look. And the roses are a variety called Port Sunlight, which I just love. And they come out and they're not enormous. And they're a really lovely colour. So this is all there for my client. And I've made sure to give her lots of base hydrangeas against which everything else can grow out. If the tables have white tablecloths, then you really lose the wild. So give yourself something for the wild to grow out of. And even the very smart cultivars like the roses will look wilder against the weight of something really heavy like the hydrangeas. The light here is great, isn't it? Start the day as you mean to go on, that's what I say. Might give it a tiny bit more fennel, actually. There. Wild coming out of formal. And so you see the wild. Love the copper pot, don't you? Very successful.